there, it's Lisa Starr with another episode of StarrCast. Thank you for joining us today, listeners and viewers. I thought that it would be time for us to speak about that big country on the other side of the world that we hear so much about, but many of us have not had the pleasure to visit, and that would be China. I started teaching spa management courses in Hong Kong, back in the early aughts. And one day, my classes were a week long, and one week when I was teaching, someone named Fifi Kao came to my class from mainland China. Well, it turns out she's the editor of Spa China magazine. She took my course for 5 days. We became good friends. I started traveling to China to go to the summit that they put on, and I became so fascinated with the country. They have an incredible spa culture that's in many ways very much like the US in the sense that the spas are in different types. It's not all hotel spas. There are day spas, there are thermal spring spas. According to the Global Wellness Institute numbers, which, by the way, were just updated in 2021 at the latest report, that China is the number 2 spa market in the world, second only to the United States in number of locations. They have about 49,000 in Asia Pac, and I think China has about 15,000 of those, and about $8 billion in revenue in US dollars. That's 50 million RMB. So plenty of money, very diverse facilities, certainly had impacts from COVID like the rest of the world, and we think the numbers were consistent there. But I thought in order to understand more about what's happening in the market, I would invite the 2 people I know that know China best. So I'd like to welcome Graham Earnshaw, the publisher of Spa China magazine, and Fifi Kao, the editor of Spa China magazine, to join us. And here they are. Welcome to both of you. My introductions will be brief, and then I will ask you each to describe yourselves better than I can. Graham is an Englishman who came to China as an editor and journalist. He was a Reuters editor from 1990 to 1995 for Asia, and he has been living in China for more than 30 years and is fluent in Mandarin, Cantonese, and English. And I will ask him to introduce himself in Mandarin just to prove it to you. Fifi Kao has been the editor-in-chief of Spa China since 2004. She is a force to be reckoned with. She knows everyone and everything that is going on in China, so it was essential to have her on the podcast. She is also a Tai Chi champion, fluent in Japanese and English, has 2 children that are super accomplished, and it's a pleasure to have both of you today.
Thank you, Lisa. Great to be here.
Nice to see you again.
Yes, nice to see you too, although I'm not there with you. And I just saw the video of the summit, and it made me so sad not to be there. But next year, right?
Yes.
So we've had a tough few years. Things are different in the world. People are tense because they don't know what's going to happen. Well, and what we've realized is we never did know what was going to happen. Now we just realize how true that is. In the West, we are seeing businesses come back. Spas have been incredibly busy. I just was on the phone an hour ago with someone that said they had their best year ever. And their January so far in 2022 is already beating 2021. We're having great numbers. We're just held back by staff in the West. But I don't know if it's the same in China. So I thought, let's hear what's the situation there. With the market for spas and wellness and in general. So I'm not sure who would like to go first.
Well, spas are the main topic, and Fifi therefore should start.
Maybe
Okay. Okay.
Actually, in China, the pandemic was controlled since March 2000 by the government.
Mm-hmm.
So everything returned back to normal. I have to say, start from May, even for the hotel spa, everything returned to normal. And but we have a very strong politics for quarantine system,
Right.
for return back to China or go out and then return back to China.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, most of the Chinese, they decided not to travel. So basically since 2000, Chinese stopped traveling overseas. They only travel inside of China.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, spa and the hotel business in China is much more busy than before, because you can assume in the previous years, maybe during the holiday, 70% of the Chinese, they go overseas, they go to Japan, they go to Europe, they go to Thailand. So they bring lots of international travel business, including the spa business, to the country outside of China. But now they all try to consume in China. In that case, all the hotel, they are super busy. For example, like Chinese New Year, it's like 100% occupancy, and you have to book advance 3 months ago. And also for the spa business, they're really, really good. Not only the hotel business, not only the hotel spa business, but also the day spa, they're super busy too.
So it sounds like you're having the same effect that we are, because domestic travel has focused on places they can reach, and they have really filled the void from the international traveler.
That's good. Have a higher awareness level of health and wellness generally as a result of the pandemic, and that is something that the spas are all benefiting from.
Yeah.
Honestly, Graham, we're seeing the same thing in other countries. Like clients are so aware of health and wellness. They realize that we can help them. They think we can boost their immunity and make them feel good. And so they're coming, which is what we're calling a COVID lift, right? Like it was an unintended consequence, obviously, but it has been good in many cases for business, and hopefully will continue to be so. How about your hot spring spas? I mean, you have a very vibrant hot springs industry in China. How is that doing? So China has a very vibrant hot springs spa industry as well, with many, many locations, some of which I've been lucky enough to go to. How has that fared in this case with the pandemic?
I think it's same. The new development is still there. And also still the Chinese customers, they still visiting hot spring resorts. But because of the quarantine issue, and also because of the pandemic, so the number of people of visiting is limited sometimes. If that region with the hot spring resort has the COVID issue, usually only few cases, then they might lock it up for a few weeks, then visit again. Or if it's not the center area of the COVID, they still open it, but limit the number for visit.
Okay, so, good.
They do the hygiene every day strictly, more than before. Like usually they check it more carefully. And basically nothing's different with before.
Okay, good. That's good to hear. I can't wait to come and visit one again. So let's talk a little bit about what the spa business in China is like, irregardless of COVID. I mean, I mentioned in the intro that you have hotel spas and resort spas and day spas, and you have large numbers of all of them. What services are the most popular? You know, what does the average Chinese spa goer having done in these spas?
You mean after the COVID happened?
Yes.
Okay. So boost up the immune system become a core topic for the spa business. And not only for spa, also for the medical industry. Right. And so in the spas, they try to get more treatment according to that, more like a wellness and a health control. So health management. For example, there is a company called Indiba. They provide the equipment which can increase the body temperature, core body temperature. And so that's definitely workable on boost up the immune system. So I think they are doing very good in China now because of after the COVID, after the pandemic, lots of spas started to buy the machine and do more new treatment to make sure their customers like their treatment, and also be able to get the effect from the treatment, and really do the health management, increase their core body temperature. So immune system booster up become the main thing in China, including the TCM treatment.
I'll get to TCM in a minute, but I want to hear more about this device. How does it boost your core temperature, and why is that seen to be beneficial? Like it's almost as though you're fighting an inflammation or an infection when your temperature is elevated. Why is that good?
Because the something like the hot spring or the have you ever heard about if you increase 1 degree of your body heat, body temperature, then it'll be able to increase 37%, like the increase the ability of 37% of your immune system.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the Japanese they're living longer than
because they're heating themselves up all the time.
They have
every day hot spring, like a bath themselves every night. And basically that works. And also for the TCM philosophy, our Asian always want you to drink hot water.
Right.
And stay warm, dress more. And that's why we dress more than Westerner. And we always have our little hot pot for our hot water. So keep the body temperature higher is a good thing. Just like once you got cold, you have fever. So fever is definitely the good thing to help you to clean your body and clean the virus in your body at the same time for recovering. Actually, that's the same philosophy. So it's like they also joke it's like a fever treatment. They give you 1 hour fever to increase your body temperature like a 40 degree. Then in that case, your body started to activate the immune system to work inside your body. So sometimes when people's like aging more than 40 years old, their immune system start to hibernate. They're not easier to get fever like you're a kid. So they try to activate the immune system to make it work by increase the body temperature.
I love this concept. Tell me how it works. Like, is it something you sit in or a room you go in or a capsule? What's kind of device is it?
单极射频. I don't know the English word for it. Maybe I should email you later for the the machine. You just lie in your spa bed, and they have they use the electric a little bit, and then it can, how can I say that in English? I'm sorry, my English doesn't work that properly in that case. So basically, it's very much like a device. They do the massage, use the device to massage you, but at the same time, the electric goes inside to your body to heat up the body tissue.
Are you wearing clothes while you receive this treatment?
You have a kind of a bracelet, or you have some pad with a little bit metal under your back.
Interesting.
And at the same time, 那个探头怎么说？就是一个头部the device,
the head of the device
can connect with the pad or the bracelet together to have an electric work inside your body.
I can't imagine that. And you're not shocking people and they're not jumping off the table with electric shock?
No.
Okay. Well, that I have to put that on the list to try next time I come to China, have my temperature raised. Fifi, you mentioned TCM. Of course, traditional Chinese medicine has been a cure for many ills for thousands of years, but it was not really traditionally sought in spas, at least by Chinese people who had other places to find it. Are you seeing spas offering more TCM modalities now?
Because TCM required the medical license, so that's why most of the spas, they're not able to do it. But they put it more into the nutrition and the tea. They have all kinds of like a TCM herbal tea, such as goji, the dates, red dates, also the brown sugar, also some other herbs. They also use mint, rosemary, which also have the TCM effect, like the Westerners aromatherapy, whatever. So they do it a lot by serve the tea and by serve some nutrition dessert after the treatment, and also the effect to the customers. Then if the customer like that, they can also purchase it in the
So,
Poultices,
Lisa,
right?
there are a couple of trends that are going on here. One is that TCM has been rigorously tested and researched, and a lot of progress has been made on how various TCM methods and potions, why they work, how they work. But at the same time, younger Chinese people are becoming less interested, I think, overall in TCM. There's a sort of an oldie, conservative, traditional sense to it, which doesn't quite meet their modern mindset.
Right.
And
It's
so
like what my grandmother did, so I don't want to do it.
there is an element of that. And at the moment, they're turning towards machines as being the primary means of getting the benefits of spas. But I think that there's a phase effect here. And I think eventually, because TCM clearly does work in so many ways, and it's deeply embedded sort of philosophically and culturally in the lives of Chinese people. And as younger people grow up, I think that they will also, I think we're going to see a resurgence of TCM.
I disagree with Graham on this point.
Okay, let's hear it.
I disagree because
Fantastic.
the young kids, they're not that much into TCM like our generation, like my parents' generation. They don't want to boil the TCM soup into a very bad taste soup and drink it every day. But they are, the TCM education is in their bone.
Exactly right.
They were educated TCM since they were babies, so they know TCM is a good thing, but they take it in their own way. For example, they take a coffee, they take like 5 cups of coffee, which is so unhealthy, but then they have the goji berry coffee. So now there's the new recipe for the coffee. It's like, they have some goji berry and also have some other TCM herbs mixed in their coffee and make them feel healthy. And it's like, I'm also linked with TCM, but I'm still drinking my coffee.
Right. So they're finding a way to be hybrid and kind of combine the old and the new.
Yes. Modernizing TCM.
Yes, modernizing TCM in their tea and in their coffee. You are not able to find the traditional tea in the younger kids' tea, like a tea shop. So all the tea are twist. They're mixed with fruits, they're mixed with herbs. So coffee is a little bit same like that too. The cappuccino has the goji cappuccino. So they're willing to try these things new and linked to TCM, but on the other hand, they feel modern and they feel they're in their world. So they're not drinking it in the traditional way. They find their own way, but they still want to link to TCM.
Right.
Well, that's good.
Yes, I'm not sure about the effect that they get from that, but they're happy then.
Exactly. If they're happy, that's good.
Yeah.
Right, and there'll be ways in which this modernization of TCM that's going on, as Fifi is describing, has a value for the world as well. That is to take the various elements of TCM and integrate them into, for instance, coffee has international implications. This is not just for the Generation Z in China.
Right, and that is also that's also the investor want.
That's it.
The investors, they doesn't want to go to traditional because they think that's end of their business. Nobody is more interested in it, but they still want to have some interesting concept linked to health. On the other hand, the coffee shop is easy to duplicate. And the tea shop is easy to duplicate by that way. So they make like a small coffee and tea booth, then serve the tea and the coffee for the daily community in the office building where the young kids are working at.
Right.
But on the other hand, they want to have something new linked to health. So tea definitely something they always think about.
Right.
So you're saying that these companies feel like the coffee and tea connection is very scalable because they can, quickly roll that out into many locations.
Right.
Yes, just like Starbucks.
Right, exactly.
Actually, during the COVID, I think Starbucks closed some like 200 stores in China. They have like more than how many numbers? I didn't do the research.
Thousands.
But 2,000. But then they closed the 200. But at the other hand, I see some new places called Manna Coffee, very small booths, just like 2 square meters. Then they offer coffees, daily coffees everywhere. They has 20,000 little booths everywhere. And sometimes they have the new product launched, which link with TCM or other herbs.
Well, the Chinese are nothing if not innovative, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Graham, what other trends are you seeing?
In terms of spas, it's I would say that it's a top end of the market phenomenon more than the lower end of the market. As Fifi was saying, the 5-star hotels and resorts around China have been doing amazing business, and the top spas have been doing amazing business. Hotels generally in China, however, the number of hotels open today in China is dramatically lower than it was in 2019. And what that means is the lower level business hotels have had to close because people are not traveling around. They're doing what we're doing now, which is Zoom. But there is a much greater awareness of health and wellness, of the need to spend time with family, of making the most of life in a healthy way. And that's had a huge benefit. Another trend is that the economy is not doing so well in China. And that not just because of COVID, but because of a general slowdown. China was growing at 8, 10, even 12% for part of the last 20 or 30 years. And it's now slowing down to 6, 5, 4% per year growth. And that puts more pressure on people. People are more stressed. The middle class and the upper middle class, the entrepreneurs, these people are under far more pressure now than they were before when it was the go-go economy. And so they need a release. And that is also a way in which the spa business is benefiting.
So they're under pressure because they have to make money in different ways?
Business is not good. How do you make ends meet? How do you cover costs?
Right.
How do you beat out the competitors? China is a very competitive environment in many ways for many of these people, and they're under a lot of pressure now. And so in order to offset that pressure, spas are offering one of the ways in which spas sell themselves in the China market is, we can make you relax, we can de-stress you. Would you say that's true?
If following, I still have a little bit of opinion which disagree with Graham.
Great.
To follow your topic, actually, I can see there are more male customers. They visit spas.
We're seeing the same thing. It's really interesting.
Yes. So
Stress.
I guess it's not only because of the stress, because I see more younger generation male. They more like a, I don't want to say it cross gender. It's like a more 就是男女都可以用的. It's like a trans.
It's sensitive new age guys. That's the phrase.
Well, we know what they are.
You know, it's like
it's me.
The boys, they're not afraid to put up the makeup on themselves.
Right.
They have to use the foundation. That never happened before in China, but now you can see the young kids, they care about their eyebrow, they care about their skin. They're more familiar with the product they're using. So so the whole generation is shifted to the next generation. I want to say, okay, your age of people, you care about your business, you got lots of stress, so you still go to the spa, hot spring, but having the massage and sleeping there because you have a talkative wife at home, which is like making you crazy. But for young kids, that's different.
Right. That makes perfect sense. And it's funny, we were discussing that trend today in a survey that we just did for Mind Body, a wellness index. We surveyed 16,000 people in the US, and the millennial men were the ones that were more going to spas and seeking out these treatments. So I find that really interesting that it's more global. It's not just here.
And then so I want to say, the word, I got it, unisex.
So unisex, right?
Yeah, unisex product is provided, including like a clothes, the things you wear, and at the store also the younger generation, they also get into the unisex concept. So they doesn't want it to be too female or too male.
Well, we're calling, gender fluidity. You're having gender fluidity just the same way we are in the West. Very interesting.
I can see that, and there is not yet any spa really particularly prepared for that. But I can already see that trend, and I want to dig into it, and I want to bring this concept to more of our spa owners and let them to paying attention to what they should serve to the next generation.
So when it comes to the young people, that brings me to my next question, which is the challenge we're seeing. The only thing holding us back from more revenue is staff.
Right.
Many staff did not come back. And I suspect in China that must have happened as well. People in tier 1 cities went back to the country. I mean, have they returned? How is the staffing being handled in your tier 1 cities?
It's also very difficult. So that's why I can see hotel, they are really got problem. Hotel spas really got problem with the labors, and especially for the hotel spa therapists, because for the hotel spa therapists, they're more concentrated on body treatment, on massage, and the kids, they still interested in this industry, but they want to be beauty. They want to do facial more than body. They want to use the device, be able to handle the device more than touch the body. So for the day spas, they already aware of that. So they started to have more equipment on body treatments.
Right.
At the same time, they use good skincare product to make the facial be more benefitable for their business, so they can have more income from the facial rather than the body treatment.
Well, we know that around the world, a facial drives more retail, has more add-ons, drives higher pricing.
Yes, but for the hotels, they want to keep the tradition. They want to give the real spa feel to their customers. So they still stick with lots of body treatment. I think that's right, but that gives them the difficulties to survive as well.
Well, this is a global trend, Lisa, which is the increasing use of machines, and the younger generation are much more comfortable with the use of machines in the spa environment than the older generation. And what's good for the spa owners is that instead of the sort of the randomness of staff, that is some therapists are good and some are not good, with a machine, you're going to get a standard reliable return in terms of what happens during that hour. And so the customer also is more happy because they have a much better idea of what they're going to get in return for the money that they spend.
Sure, the results are more consistent with a machine.
Right. Yeah.
But I still see the rich people, they prefer hands and the human treatment, and they will pay a lot for that. Yeah. So the good skill therapists say they can earn quite good salary now. Their salary is really getting higher.
We're having the same debate. I mean, we've had what we're calling touchless treatments, where you go into a room or a device without a therapist, and it helps when you don't have the labor, but it is not as personal. And there's been an outcry, and spa purists say, oh, you must use hands. I think we have to be able to do both, right? To offer clients. Some clients are still timid to go into a room with a stranger. Even though we're mostly vaccinated. So it solves that problem, and it solves a labor problem, but it will never replace a hands-on treatment. But, you do need to keep your revenue going.
Right. And what we're heading into a whole new world, a world of AR and VR. And a whole bunch of new devices are going to be coming out pretty soon, which means you can be anywhere, particularly in a spa. And there's been a lot of work done on this. You're in a room and you're sitting on a beach in Hawaii, you're on the top of Mount Everest as you have your massage or whatever. Right. And this is, but one of the results of that is that the value of a real human being with real hands working on you, the value of that market value is going to be dramatically higher.
I want to say a joke here.
Okay.
Which I heard from Japan, and I'm really curious about it. And I think it's maybe a brilliant idea. So, in Japan, there are lots of masseuses. They are older ladies, like housewives, and also the guys. And then there is the new VR 眼镜
Yeah, glasses.
Not glasses,
Couple,
那个叫什么，就是眼罩大的
VR glasses called it.
Right.
Not glasses, 就是一个大的那种像游泳的眼镜的那个
Like the Oculus, the thing that you put on. Right.
Like goggles, the VR goggles, which after you wear it, all you see is a beautiful young lady is massaging you.
Oh, that's funny.
That is fun, isn't it? It's like you can set up the mode with the color of the hair. It's like
oh my gosh, really? Oh, that's funny.
It's like
So you can have the massage therapist that you want, and so that's what you see, and who's ever.
That's what
Lisa,
you feel.
it's George Clooney.
That I would sign up for, no problem.
Yes, but I think it's fun, right? It's fun. It's like so in that case, you were in your own world with
That's
your
right.
brain, but on the other way, you still feel the human touch for your massage.
No, it's a great solution. Fifi, tell me about your initiative you were working on before COVID to train people from the countryside to perform spa treatments and bring them to the cities. What's happening with that?
It's hard to recruit the young kids now because of the single child policy was there in China for 40 years. So even for the countryside, the one family, they only have one kid. So they did not want the kid to be like working tough and also far from their family anymore. And for the young kids, they were spoiled since they were born, and they seem like city girls. Maybe it's countryside, but their life is never lack of anything. They still have their cell phone, everything. So they don't suffer with any money for living. So in that case, they also willing to try other things rather than become a therapist.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's something which is hard. It's so hard to recruit.
We're seeing the same thing. I mean, I think part of it is that they have more options now, right? With the internet, they can make money in different ways, and they don't have to move away from their family.
That's true. By the internet, they can do their little business. They can sell the countryside mushroom and the eggs from their mountain, and they
or have a business on Taobao or something, and they make their money, right?
Exactly.
But there will be an answer to this, which is higher rates. That is, therapists are going to be better trained and are going to get more money. And the result of that is that there will be a smaller interest amongst a smaller group of people, but they're going to get, in the future, they're going to get paid a lot more money than they have been traditionally.
So you guys are preparing for the Olympics. People are starting to arrive very soon. I mean, do you think you will be able to open the borders more to foreigners?
That is also another very interesting thing to share with you. For the Winter Olympics, I think the Beijing government, they built a special channel. How can I say that? A tunnel, and it's not a tunnel. It's like when all the sports players arrived to the airport, they have an independent airport specially for them.
Wow.
Then this independent airport connected with independent train, a train specially made for them.
So they built an airport and a train just for the athletes and the Olympic attendees.
Yes, so
only in China.
Only in China. They shipped them to the studio directly, the village, the place they made especially for this Winter Olympics. So everybody actually was there, never touched outside. So once they arrived, the airport is closed, just special for them. Then the train is special for them. Then the village is not connected to outside. All the people, all the staff who working there, they got the vaccine shot. They have like a full awareness to work in that environment. And will not be any visitors.
No visitors.
No visitors.
So the China system means that they're very capable of doing a real lockdown, and there has been an upsurge in the number of cases, particularly.
We're hearing that.
But the numbers are absolutely ridiculously small compared to other parts of the world, particularly, of course, the United States. And this system is capable of maintaining very low levels, very close to zero during the Olympics. Will not be affected.
I was looking today at something that was showing the numbers. Maybe it was in the China Economic Review, and they posted the numbers in China, and it was like 700 people in a country of 1.4 billion, how you could even count that. And then they listed all the other countries like mine and Canada and France who have thousands and thousands of cases.
Yes.
Well, they are controlling it, it would seem. And I'm really glad the Olympics will go on. And
the result of that is that the result of the way in which they've handled it, which they've had a very strict zero COVID policy. And the result is that the economy, the domestic economy, has done remarkably well in spite of all of the challenges. Something like 90% of China's population has now been vaccinated at least once, probably twice. The one way in which this might backfire is that the herd immunity factor is, of course, very, very low in China because they've had absolutely no exposure. Most people had no exposure at all to this virus, whereas people like yourselves in the United States, there's all sorts of antibodies floating around that you're unaware of. And that is completely not present in China.
Well, let's think ahead a year or two, and COVID is behind us, and the borders are open. What do you think the future holds for spa and wellness in China? How do you see it evolving?
Okay, so first, online is a big thing. Online is definitely a big thing. I can see some younger generation owners, like the younger 30s, early 30s, they're running great business by sell the online products, skincare products. And we have several Spa China clients. One is called Zhuben, and they sell one cleansing oil, which 就是6个亿。600
million renminbi, which is about $100 million in business.
6亿是6 billion
600 million. 600 million renminbi.
Okay.
To buy a cleansing oil?
No. That's their 就是 sales revenue.
That's the.
Oh, okay. That's okay. That makes more sense.
Not profit.
So it's very popular.
It's very, very popular. And because of the population of the Chinese, and they all have the habits to shopping online. So reach them with online business, which is a big trend now. And it's very much important than ever.
And community word of mouth is absolutely the most effective form of marketing. And the online social media networks of China, particularly WeChat, provide that. And so if something catches on with one group of housewives or Gen Zs or whatever, then it can spread like wildfire across the country. And a brand like Zhuben, which Fifi is mentioning, can suddenly just break out and become immensely popular and successful.
And also, you studied a case called Perfect Diary. Could you share that with Lisa as well? Because Perfect Diary did so well in previous few years. Of course, they have some problems now, but it's nice to share with Lisa because that's a typical Chinese case.
Right. So this is cosmetics rather than strictly health and wellness, but the cosmetics industry in China has been dominated. The sort of the middle to top end has been dominated by the foreign brands, including L'Oreal.
Right.
For many years, and Perfect Diary is a Chinese brand that's come out of nowhere by being really smart in its use of social media and of online sales, and basically ignoring bricks and mortar completely, and being very smart, particularly in terms of the use of KOLs, that is celebrities.
Right. Key opinion leaders to those of us outside China.
Key opinion leaders, that is influencers in one way or another, making really smart use of them in order to build awareness of, visibility, and a good feel about the brand, and then suddenly sales take off. The problem for Perfect Diary and for some other countries is that for other companies is that you find that the marketing spend, the amount of money that you've got to spend on these key opinion leaders and others is so high that it can push you into negative, that is loss on every item that you sell. And Perfect Diary is now in that situation. They've been very successful. They've got big sales, but in order to maintain their sales, they've got to spend so much money on marketing.
On the KOLs.
And I have to say, the key point for the getting worse is the product quality doesn't really be good enough to have repeating clients.
And so that's the other aspect of the modern world, is that, and particularly the China market is very interested in the latest, the newest. And if you as a brand, you've established yourself as a brand, but if you don't keep renewing the brand, the products that you're offering, then you're going to fall away very quickly.
But then I see this is the opportunity for the foreigner expert maybe play a role in China, because China is good at marketing and announcing the things out because they're smart. They know how to make everyone paying attention to package themselves, to marketing themselves. But they are so weak at doing really the quality control and make a good brand and continually have the new, fresh idea for the new products. But I can see lots of European brands, they are very good at doing that, but they keep their scale very, very small. And in that case, that's why Perfect Diary, they bought Yves Long.
They did?
They bought Yves Long for their China market. And because they want to level up themselves. And on the other hand, they want to be able to have good quality product, to have their steady client, to be able to their repeating clients. And
well, I guess it's that classic approach. You have some high volume, low margin products, and you want some lower volume, higher margin products to offset that. So they bought Yves Long just for China.
Yes. Yeah. I have to say the strategy is good. It's good. It's not bad. Once they never lack of cash flow, if they can keep to have new investor to play with them together, they might able to make it happen. But I can see the main weakness now they have is still the product quality. Because I bought the product from their brand and I didn't like it. I didn't want to use it.
So there's a lesson here for spa product companies around the world. If you've got good R&D, good creativity, you've got great products but small sales in wherever you are. If you can find a link into China, then you can take the product that you've got, which is different from anything else, and the foreignness is a selling point in the China market. And you link it into an operation here in China, which understands how to use the marketing, the online sales, the social media,
it's also
to
the
make
fund.
To make it explode in the China market. Then you could make a lot of money.
Well, Tmall does a very good job, doesn't it, of paving the way for foreign brands to come in?
Absolutely, yeah.
What are the other options? Are there distributors that take products that are not sold online?
The distributors, they have some distributors, they're willing to cooperate with the skincare product abroad together to work together because they have been suffered to bring the international brand to China, made it famous. Then the brand took it back. And on the other hand, the brand also chose another distributor to do online. So the price get fighting to each other online, offline. So they started to losing trust to the international brand as well. So because they developed the China market.
Right. And then had that money taken away.
Yes. That also happens to Graham's like a business as well.
Yeah,
it's like a magazine business.
There are tricky elements to it, but if you are producing spa products that work wherever you are, then they're almost certainly going to work in the China market as well. You need to be careful in terms of your choice of a distribution partner. But if you find a good, solid, long-term partner,
you have to really trust them and
that's right.
Give them to be in charge and also be loyal to them. I think this is the both side vice versa.
That's right.
Yes, because Chinese usually has the image to be tricky to many foreigner companies.
That's right.
But to be honest, they invest a lot to develop China market. So the foreigner brands, they need to give more trust to the Chinese distributors and also stay close with them to give them enough support.
I agree with that. And what you need perhaps is a guide, and I think Fifi is a good example of somebody who can help brands to land in China safely and find the right distributor and work out the right kind of deal. If you come in cold and start those conversations without the help of a consultant, you could end up with tears before tea time.
Tears for sure. No, I think Fifi is ideal for that. Well, both of you are so well situated. I mean, you know the market so well, and all of the where the bodies are buried, shall we say. It's tricky to navigate, but it is amazing market to be in, and products are embraced, and the speed at which things move.
Right.
You know, we have influencers too, but but the impact is so much greater in a country with 1.4 billion people. And who is, from what I understand, put great weight in what a KOL says. I mean, it really carries a lot of weight, maybe more than it does in some Western countries.
Right. I mentioned earlier that the economy is slowing down, but I don't want to give an impression that we're heading into a depression or anything. China, particularly the middle class and upper middle class market that is particularly interested in spas and spa products, etc. This is a growth market for a long time to come.
And they're more, sorry to cut you.
Yes, please.
They're more into expensive one. Like
Definitely.
the younger one, they don't want to have like a moisture or cleansing only. The younger generation who's like 20s, they directly go to the top anti-aging product.
They have money and they want to enjoy life. They want to pamper themselves. And so there's enormous amount of potential still in the growing middle class of China. And this growing sense for the last 20 or 30 years, the higher middle class, for the last 20, 30 years, these people have been working, running to make money to establish themselves. And they've now, to one extent or another, got there. And now for themselves and for their children, they're interested in enjoying life much more. And that means huge opportunities, business opportunities for spas, spa products, spa services, all sorts of ways.
No, agreed. I mean, Graham, you said growth is slowing to 4%. And I thought 4%, many countries would be very happy with that. I mean, China was growing so much more quickly, but maybe it's a good thing to go a little bit more slowly for your economy as well.
Yes.
And so the thing, now, if talking about the spa business potential in China, I have to say now I see either you are powerful enough, a huge group, you have your brand powerfully hit the China market, and you have the most fancy look and the most best product and the best treatment to China, or just make it small and easy to duplicate. And that's always the best in China. But it has to be modern and good looking with new idea and a new concept to attract the new kids. And the younger generation spending power, I have to say, at least 60% increased than their parents' generation. And they're not doing saving like the traditional Chinese as before. They're spending everything, every little penny on themselves. And they want to experience life. They want to experience the new things.
So that must be good for your magazine. I mean, you've been putting out this beautiful magazine that's not just spa, but wellness, travel, food. I mean, since 2004, and you put it out every other month, right? Has business been good for the magazine?
It's good. We try to package my magazine with online social media, how can I say, promoting and also the summit together, because we have to do that together. We couldn't just have the magazine anymore. So online, offline, and events.
Online is so important, of course.
Yes, online, offline, and events are the main business what I'm working with. And Graham and I, we are very much interested in to learn what's happening rather than just running a magazine. So we paying a lot of attention. I'm paying lots of attention to talk to the young people, and also to talk to the spa owners to find out what they are interested in, and what's the business coming from, and what's the difference between the younger visitors and the older generations. And I found that the whole world of China is changing. Absolutely.
Well, Fifi, every time I try to reach you in the office, you're traveling. I know that you have your feet on the ground somewhere in China, so nobody knows what's going on like you do, for sure.
I can see the day spa owners from secondary cities. They are so powerful now, because the first tier cities like Shanghai, Beijing, high competition. And the people are so well educated, like people are so picky, and they compare the price, compare the looking of the product, compare the effect, they compare everything. So now I see the major big money is in the second tier cities. So if there is any people who are willing to come to China, maybe try the nice second tier cities. It's also a good option as well. Because we were also talked about, because of the younger generation, they are less traveling than before. They prefer to stay with their parents
Right.
in their hometown because they're a single child. But on the other hand, they're willing to have the same experience which they can have in Shanghai.
Mhm.
So the top in second-tier cities, maybe it's much more easier than survive in Shanghai.
Oh, for sure. We're seeing the same. I mean, can you explain for our listeners the difference between a tier 1 and a tier 2 city?
So tier 1 cities like a high rent. The first thing, the rent is so high. The rent is tripled. Living in Shanghai.
That would be Guangzhou, Shanghai, Beijing, Chengdu,
I think
and Shenzhen.
Not yet. I think Shenzhen,
Shenzhen.
Shanghai, Beijing.
Beijing.
Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen. I have to say these three is too much now for
Mm-hmm.
lots of Chinese. And then the top second-tier city is Hangzhou,
Mm-hmm.
Chengdu. Then I can see the other little places are catching up. They are a little bit lower than Hangzhou and the Chengdu, but they still wonderful. They still wonderful living. And we just held our Spa China summit in Xiamen, Amoy, which is a little island very close to Taiwan and in the Fujian province.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful, lovely place for living, and it's so easy.
Well, it's a big country. There's lots of good little unexplored corners, right?
And Fifi's talking about small, second-tier cities. There's around 200 cities in China with a population of more than 1 million. And some of these so-called second-tier cities are 6-7 million people. They are huge markets, but they are more isolated from the world than, say, Shanghai, particularly Shanghai. Shanghai is the most international place in China.
Absolutely.
And while the people who run the spa networks in these cities, they are very smart and they are very well plugged into the requirements of the local market. They are not so integrated into
the local market,
but not so plugged into the international scene.
Mm-hmm.
And so the advantage that Spa China magazine provides is to give them a link through to what's going on in terms of international trends, in terms of products and services, and the overall state of the business from an international perspective. And that means that Spa China is a really important information conduit for them. From the very start, you said 2004, that's when we started it. It's always been bilingual. And it's always been very focused on providing a bridge, an information bridge between China and the outside world, so that the people here can get a better idea of the international trends and keep up with them. And that I think is one of the reasons why Fifi has been so successful with.
Oh, I agree. She's very hooked in. She connects all the dots for us. It's great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And for my Spa China Summit, I can see my visitors, my participators, like the attendees, they are changing too. Like 10 years ago, mainly we have lots of hotel spa directors and spa managers, as you know.
And many expats.
Yeah, many expats. But these 2 years, I have more day spa visitors, day spa attendees, and they love my summit. And they want to be aligned up with the hotel spas.
That's it.
And the spa quality is very good. And they're so smart on running their business. And they came with like 2-3 key staff together and take our summit as the place for them to study. And they have meeting every day after the summit and try to share what they learned from the summit.
It's fantastic.
They're really serious about learning, and that's what the Spa China Summit does. It provides an wealth of information that is practically useful in terms of remaking your spa and improving your revenues. And these people, like all Chinese people, are very, very practical when it comes to business.
They're very practical.
And the practical nature of the Spa China Summit and of the magazine content means that it is a must read and a must visit for many people.
Well, there's no other event like it in the mainland. There's no other event that brings in expats and international and speaks to what's happening in the country in the way that your event does. So that's awesome.
And it's now the second biggest. The Spa China Summit is the second biggest event in the spa and wellness industry in the world.
Wow.
Global Spa Summit is the biggest.
I
Of
did
course.
not know that.
Well,
Spa China is number 2.
We're small. We're still very, very
That's still
small.
number 2.
So I want to thank you both for your time. It's fascinating discussion. I think our listeners will appreciate. In closing, Graham, I wondered if you could share with us just a bit about why you stayed in China. You came to China from England and you're still there. Why was that? Why did you remain?
China is an incredibly rich place. The culture and the history, the depth, the cuisine, the language. There are so many elements that I am really seriously, dramatically interested in. And China is also a place where there is a great change. The speed of change here is very fast. It's a very dynamic environment. And so I sit here because I enjoy all of the elements of Chineseness. And I enjoy the contradictions that are inherent in some elements of the system here. And I'm fascinated to see how China will change. And the big challenge, I think, for the world and for China in the 21st century is the full integration of China into the world. And there are many, many things that China can contribute, including stuff like TCM is just one small part of the cultural aspects that China can contribute. And I think, while it sounds a little bit high-minded, I think having the opportunity to play a bridge role to help China understand the West and for the West to understand China a bit more, it provides a meaning to my life that I would not want to give up.
That's excellent.
Grandma and we had a lunch on this Wednesday, 2 days ago, with a lady from Australia, and her name is Michelle Gano. She opened her restaurant in Shanghai since which year?
1999.
No, before 1996. She had her first restaurant in the Peace Hotel, a Westerner restaurant. Then she opened her restaurant M on the Bund at the location in the Bund since 1999, but she decided to close it after the Chinese New Year next month, the mid of next month. The reason is, of course, the rent is very, very high.
Right.
On the other hand, she's like had enough for her work, and she wants to spend more time to travel in China. And she said she's never done with China. She likes Shanghai a lot, and she's going to keep staying in Shanghai.
That's right.
And she still will be well connected with China to explore more. I think someone like Michelle or Graham, and they just love to see the change and the different kinds of issue happening in China. And
that's right.
That's it.
Graham, you must have seen the change accelerating, though, don't you think, in the last 5 or 8 years?
Many things have changed, many things have not changed. And to be contrarian, I tend to emphasize the things that have not changed. The basic culture of China is unique in terms of the base of Confucianism and Taoism. And it's very different from all of the cultures from Central Asia to the West, really, all the way through to Europe and the States, which are all based in one way or another on the mix of philosophies and religions that came out of the Middle East, including Christianity and Islam and all the various other things. China developed a culture that was completely isolated, or almost completely isolated from all of that. And the uniqueness of Chinese culture means that it has so much more to offer to the world.
I love that. Well, thank you again, both of you, for joining us. Graham, can you sign us off by saying goodbye in Mandarin?
大家再见，感谢收听。
Okay, that was simple. Thank you both so much for this time. It's really interesting. I hope to see you soon.
Yes.
Indeed. Bye-bye.